The rematch between Rafael Espinoza and Ramirez has all the makings of a classic. Espinoza's grit and powerful style meet Ramirez's technical brilliance and hunger for redemption. With both fighters bringing everything they've got, this battle promises to deliver fireworks.
Most boxing fans will always have a curiosity and be tuned in. And of course, with Espinoza being a new world champion, a fresh world champion, having upset Ramirez, he's on high right now, and he's obviously going to want to, set the standard for his title reign and his title run and his title defenses. Of course, Ramirez was a guy who was expected. There was a lot of good things expected of him, so knocking him off already set the standard.
Since his victory over Ramirez in their first encounter, Rafael Espinoza has proven himself a formidable champion. Espinoza's ability to adapt and leverage his height and reach were instrumental in his initial victory, and he plans to use those same advantages in the rematch. As Espinoza himself admitted, the first fight was a learning experience that revealed his potential to continue winning at the highest level.
Y tengo mucho potencial para ser uno de los mejores peleadores, pero claro, la experiencia va a ser un cambio para mi carrera.
Of course, but more than learning, I noticed that I have heart and I have the potential to be one of the great fighters. And of course, the experience, of course, did change me.
Experts like Akeem Haynes have praised Espinoza's skill set, particularly his composed demeanor and calculated game plan during the first fight. Espinoza's reach and ability to throw punches from unexpected angles overwhelmed Ramirez the first time, keeping him on the defensive. These attributes make Espinoza a dangerous opponent for any fighter, including Ramirez.
Man, first fight was amazing, right? It had everything you wanted, right? The icing on the cake even is the underdog winning. Who doesn't like an underdog story? When I did the breakdown of this video the first time, man, I felt like Robeisy, with his experience, with his knowledge, he would be able to get the win. But I never said it was going to be an easy win because I didn't know much about Espinoza. But with his height and his reach and some of the tape that I've seen of him, I'm like, yo, this guy throws a lot of punches and he seems to have some skill. But I wasn't fully sold because you're never really sure until you're in a fight where you become sure of a fighter.
Despite his loss, Ramirez remains a generational talent. Known for his technical brilliance, Ramirez has shown that he can adjust and learn from his setbacks. As Teddy Atlas noted, Ramirez came close to stopping Espinoza in the 5th round of their first fight. This near victory underscores the Cuban's potential to turn the tables in the rematch.
He got off the floor, I believe, if my memory is right, in the 5th round, and then comes back and almost stops Ramirez. There it is right there. And then almost stops. See, that's where it hurts you being tall, is when you stand tall and you allow the shorter man to climb or to close the gap and you're still standing tall. That's like a skyscraper. Then there's a lot of windows to break. That's the one thing you got to be careful of. But I just love Espinoza. How can you not love him? I mean, he's tall, he's long. He knows how to fight tall and long, but he says to hell with it, because he's a Mexican fighter. He's got that pride, And when I say Mexican fighter, I don't mean that he's not, every Mexican fighter has to fight, on the inside. But the pride does, the national pride, they do understand their heritage of so many great Mexican fighters that they follow. And they will bring it to you. And Espinoza is one of those guys. But again, he knows how to fight tall. He knows how to use his length. He knows how to control range. But he just says, freak it. I'm going to go fight you. When push comes to shove, if that's what he's going to do, that's what he's going to do. And that's how he won the fight. And like I said, he almost stopped Ramirez in the 12th round.
Ramirez's conditioning, however, has been a point of concern. Analysts like Akeem Haynes have emphasized the importance of Ramirez improving his stamina to match Espinoza's relentless work rate. If Ramirez can maintain his energy throughout the fight, he has the tools to mount a serious challenge to reclaim his title.
And, are they saying Ramirez doesn't do a whole lot of road work, right? Doesn't do a whole lot of conditioning training. And I hope that in the rematch, he has done some of that condition training, because what is going to come your way. You know that you're fighting a guy who is heavy pressure, heavy volume, heavy work rate, right? Espinoza threw over 100 punches in the last 2 rounds, if I remember correctly about the stats. Robeisy just couldn't take it anymore, right? He couldn't take it anymore. He was gassed out. He was tired.
Espinoza's fighting style embodies the resilience and toughness synonymous with Mexican boxing. As Paulie Malignaggi remarked, Mexican fighters are known for their grit, and Espinoza is no exception. His ability to go the extra mile and push through adversity makes him a fighter to watch in any matchup.
Tells you I'm not surprised. You know, Mexican fighters are known for their heart. They're known for their determination. They're known for going that extra mile. You don't want to be the Mexican boxer that doesn't have that quality. You know, a lot of Mexican boxers, not all of them reach world-class level. Not all of them have this super talent. You know, there's plenty of Mexican boxers in the world that don't reach a world-class level. It is one of the major sports in that country, so a lot of guys fight. But all of them are supposed to have that one thing in common: willing to go that extra mile, willing to dig deep, willing to show that character. That's one thing that talent does not have to. You don't have to have talent to show. And of course, Espinosa has also the talent. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been in that world title fight. When he pushed that extra mile in that 12th round and almost got Ramirez out of there.
Espinoza's power also sets him apart, Ramirez says. Espinoza is simply a knockout machine. Espinoza's punches carry the kind of impact that can change the course of a fight in an instant. With both fighters likely to hunt for knockouts, this rematch promises to be a thrilling contest from the opening bell.
This is the clash for WBO World Featherweight title. Both fighters are very skillful. Espinoza is undefeated and he has got very long hands, very long strikes, 6'1", 74 inches of reach, out of Guadalajara. He is a knockout artist, a knockout machine. While Ramirez can also knock people out. He's 5'5", 68 inches of reach, gonna have significant reach disadvantage, but he is extremely brutal in the clinch and he wants to knock people out. To be honest, this might be a difficult fight for him, as Espinoza is very long and Espinoza will be looking to land 1-2. He'll be looking to land big straight punches on his opponent. So I believe this fight might end before the final bell. 12 rounds is just too much for these beasts, and I'm gonna say the fight will not go the distance. Side call, I want Ramirez to win via KO, TKO, but could go either way. I believe this might go all the way. Both of these guys are very explosive fighters, but they both have chins and it's going to be very hard to knock their opponent out. Also, Rafael Espinoza, 24'00", 6'1", 74 inches of reach, pretty tall boxer. He outsmarted Ramirez. He was better than Gerardo Valenzuela, Ali Maverangi, Aramis Solis, Carlos Ornelas, but I'm confident this is gonna be a long war. Now, both of these guys are going to fish for a knockout as soon as they smell blood, but...
The boxing world is split on the outcome of this fight. Some, like Abraham Nova, Espinoza's victory in the first fight makes him the favorite. Nova pointed out that Espinoza has demonstrated his superiority and will likely do so again.
I feel like it's another stepping stone, to get my world title. He's a good fighter. He did what he did in amateur, but the only reason I think they got this shot with me is because of his amateur background, not because of the success that he's done in the professional rankings. I'm not looking past him. I know, like I say, he's a good fighter, he's a dangerous fighter, but I don't think it's a 50-50 fight in my eyes. Not at all, but a lot of people think it is. They'll find out Saturday night.
Others, like Luki Boxing, acknowledge Ramirez's technical brilliance and past successes, noting that this rematch will be a critical test of his potential. Ramirez must focus on conditioning and avoid being overwhelmed by Espinoza's volume and relentless pressure.
On ESPN, we got Ramirez taking on Rafael Espinoza. I don't know much about Rafael Espinoza, but I know Ramirez, to me, is probably the best featherweight in the world. Maybe you could say Luis Alberto Lopez is the best guy, but those are 1 and 2. They're both signed to Top Rank. Ramirez fits the bill of kind of a generational talent. He lost his first fight, but he's looked as good as ever in his fights with Dogbo, weaponizing his power against Abraham Nova. To me, this is just a step forward in seeing what's the potential for Ramirez headlining cars and inching towards possibly a Neo Inoue fight in 2024. This is what we tune in for boxing for. A 6'1" featherweight that had an unassuming record, comes out of nowhere, no real hype, and beats a bona fide, in my opinion, generational talent in Ramirez. And seeing what he did and seeing the physical traits he possesses, kind of hard to really pick against him. A star was born, and it wasn't just on DAZN, it was on ESPN. Reminds me of when Emmanuel Navarrete broke out and beat Isaac Dogbo. Good job, Espinoza, and shout out to your family.
For Espinoza, maintaining composure and leveraging his reach and power are key to victory. Ramirez, meanwhile, needs to capitalize on Espinoza's mistakes while staying aggressive and precise.
Showcase fights when they don't need these fights anymore. These little 8-rounders, these 10-rounders, these gimme fights for Shushu Carrington isn't doing him any good. Shushu, I mean, the sky's the limit for him. And right now, he's barely off the ground.
This rematch is more than just another fight. It's about legacy. For Rafael Espinoza, a win would solidify his place as a true champion and erase any doubts about his first victory. For Robeisy Ramirez's component placement, this is a chance to redeem himself and reclaim his standing as one of the best in the sport.
He looked composed, never really overwhelmed. Moment didn't seem like it was too big for him. It looked like he had a game plan. It looked like he believed that he was going to win this fight. He wasn't intimidated by the 2-time gold medalist. He wasn't intimidated by the champion Robeisy Ramirez, right? He knew Robeisy was tough. He knew the task at hand, and he was ready for it.
With both fighters having so much to prove, fans can expect an intense, high-stakes battle that could shape their careers for years to come.
Right? But Espinoza never fully let Robeisy get comfortable where he could finish what he started, because Espinoza was throwing every single time that he found himself in trouble. That seemed to be part of his defense. Robeisy kept catching him, but Espinoza kept throwing and kept throwing and kept throwing, and he would get himself out of trouble. And I also think part of what kept Espinoza up as well too is just the will and the heart and the grit of wanting to be a champion, of wanting that respect from your peers and from the world. And so I think that's part of what kept him up and what kept him going, man, you know, and he just willed himself to a victory. But overwhelmed.
Who will come out on top in this electrifying rematch? Will Rafael Espinoza's resilience and power secure another victory? Or will Robeisy Ramirez reclaim his title with a strategic masterclass? Share your thoughts in the comments below and subscribe to Punch Hub for exclusive fight updates, expert analysis, and post-fight breakdowns. This is one showdown you won't want to miss.